Hello, future professionals. Welcome to our day 8 of Top 100 Coding Question Analysis. Today, we have been challenged with the project to create a bank ATM program where it performs balance inquiry, deposits, and withdrawal. Before we start coding, let's understand the logic. If a customer inquires for his or her balance, then we output their balance. If the customer wants to deposit an amount, then we add the deposit amount to the balance if the deposit amount is greater than 0 and print the output, that is the current balance. If the customer wants to withdraw an amount, we then deduct the withdrawal amount from the balance if the balance is greater than the withdrawal amount. Then we output the current balance. Now that we have understood the logic, we shall witness the desired outcome. The program is asking me to enter the transaction number that I want to perform. Let me first inquire the balance, that is, the transaction number is 1. I have a balance of 10,000. Next, let me deposit. The transaction number is 2. It is asking me the amount that I want to deposit. Let me enter 5,000. It shows that my current balance is 15,000. Next, let me withdraw an amount. The transaction number is 3. Let me withdraw 16,000. It says I have insufficient balance. So let me try withdrawing 10,000. It shows my current balance is 5,000. Let me exit the program. It says that the transaction has successfully terminated. Now that we have understood the logic of the program and witnessed the desired output, it's time we start coding. We shall start by initializing a variable balance to 10,000. Next, we define function for balance inquiry and name the function checkBalance. Here, we use the global keyword along with balance variable to get access to the value of the balance variable. Next, we print the current balance. Next, we have to define a function to deposit the amount. I name the function deposit. It gets the parameter amount. Here, we use global keyword along with the balance variable in order to access the value of balance. Now, we check whether the deposit amount is greater than 0, else we warn the user that deposits above rupees 0 are only accepted. If the condition amount greater than 0 is satisfied, then we add the amount to the balance, effectively depositing the amount. Then we print the current balance. Next, we shall define a function to withdraw the amount. I name the function withdraw. It gets the parameter amount. Here, we use the global keyword along with the balance variable to get the access to the balance value. Here, we check whether the balance is greater than the withdrawal amount, else we print insufficient balance. If the condition balance greater than amount is satisfied, we deduct the amount from the balance, effectively withdrawing the amount. Here we print an acknowledgement statement that successfully withdrawed the amount. Next, we shall print the current balance. Now that we have completed all the subsidiary functions, it's time to define the important function, that is ATM function. Here we initialize the transaction variable to a boolean value true. Next, here we print the user manual so that the user knows the corresponding transaction number to the appropriate transaction. Next, we create a while loop which executes till the transaction remains true. Here, we get the input, that is the transaction number, and store the value in the transact variable. Next, we perform a series of checks where first check is whether the transact is a numeric value or not. If not numeric, we want the user to enter a valid transaction number. If the condition transact is numeric satisfies, then we perform next check, that is whether the transaction is between 0 and 5, that is effectively from 1 to 4. Else, we want the user enter the transaction number from 1 to 4. If the condition satisfies, that is the transaction values between 0 and 5, then we check for individual transaction numbers. If the transaction number is 1, we call the check balance function. Else, if the transaction number is 2, we call the deposit function. The deposit function takes an argument which we get it from the user, asking enter the amount that you want to deposit. Else, if the transact value is equal to 3, then we call withdraw function. Here, the withdraw function gets an argument which we get from the user by asking the user to enter the amount that they want to withdraw. Else, if the transaction value is 4, then we print the transaction has successfully terminated and then we terminate the program by initializing the value of transaction to false. Now that we have defined all our functions, it's time we call the important function, that is ATM function. Let's now look for any errors or warning signals. As there are no errors and warning signals, let's execute the program. Let me perform the same operations that we had done before we had started coding to check whether our program works similar to what we have witnessed before. In order to differentiate the previous transaction and the current transaction, I withdraw 9,000 from the amount. I get the current balance as 6,000. Let me terminate the program. It says successfully terminated. Now that we have successfully completed our program, I hope you would have got the best out of this video. I recommend you subscribing our channel to get more such interesting videos.